On Garbage Time Fantasy Football, we got the Week 14 recap. It's time for Garbage Time. Welcome into Garbage Time Fantasy Football. I am your host, the best host, the only host, the return of the best host, Ron. Joined today by Joe and Ryan.
How you doing tonight, special guest?
Not special guest.
Special host night.
I'm the
kind of like when they
one and only.
When they let some random person take over the Tonight Show for a night.
Some random person, like it's not like a celebrity or something.
If that's the case, we should just let Sua run this show. He's already been bitching in the comments that we didn't start on time again.
We would probably start on time. Sua should just be producer. It'd probably work out a lot better.
Yeah, get him in on some of this stuff.
All right, boys. Like I said at the beginning, we are going to do the Week 14 recap. We had some monster performances, some unexpected performances, and just some good games all around.
So, Ron, what do you need to do tonight to F our playoffs up for someone?
To what?
F the playoffs up for someone.
Oh, I need Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and James Conner to score less than, I believe it's 56 points total.
Do you feel confident with their tight end being out with COVID?
No, I don't feel confident at all. It has nothing to do with Tyler Higbee. I mean, Tyler Higbee hasn't been doing anything all year pretty much. Probably one of our biggest busts on this show.
You better hope that it's an Odell kind of night.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that Cardinals defense comes to play.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe miraculously someone gets ruled out for COVID before the game.
Yeah, let's not do that. Ryan, are you still feeling good about your Miami Dolphins defense situation?
I am, yeah. But I will give Joe some credit. He called it a few weeks ago when he mentioned the Kansas City defense, and they're sitting on waivers right now. And holy moly, that would have been a game winner for someone to pick them up.
Yeah, they had a good game.
In most cases, I got spanked this week. They wouldn't have helped me, but
it's all right. The host that drives this show is obviously me, and I'm really good at picking defenses. And when we get JJ's apology this week because Jerry Jeudy did not get 80 yards and a touchdown, I think he'll be more than happy to elaborate on that. So I'm really looking forward to that too. And guys, we promise we will have that apology to you. Probably not tonight, but tomorrow when JJ's live on the show. So that'll be entertaining for all of you.
And it's worth noting, I'm pretty sure Jerry Jeudy didn't get 80 yards or a touchdown, let alone both.
Neither one.
So
that should be fairly entertaining.
All right, with that being said, let's get into the news.
News updates.
What, do you want me to read the news or some shit?
Yes.
Ron just uses it as an excuse to dive into his fucking desk and grab something out of it. He just assumes I'm going to start reading it.
I thought I had enough time.
You had no time because I threw you for a loop and didn't start reading shit.
I didn't have any time.
He's like, I'm going to use this moment now.
I was trying to get another soda out of my fridge.
Oh, I can't wait till you lose an apology bet. All right, so our first little bit of bullshit. Our first little bit of news tonight. Out of Texans training camp. It feels like training camp every week there. They're out of Texans camp. They're saying that Davis Mills, if he plays well for the rest of the season, could potentially earn that starting job for the Texans next season, and they may forego picking a quarterback this upcoming season. What does this mean, guys, for Dynasty and for the Texans franchise going forward, the clown show that it is?
If the Texans really plan on doing that, then they need to be kicked out of the league, like the whole franchise.
Relegated.
If they really don't draft or acquire some sort of QB, and they think Davis Mills is their future, they just need to be kicked out of the league. That's all I have on the subject. Anybody else?
Apparently, Ryan's got nothing on the subject.
It's just going to be the Texans staying the same, where they'll have no fantasy relevant players aside from Brendan Cutts, and that's it.
Now, do you think that's going to be evident of them believing there's no good quarterbacks in this upcoming draft, or is this potentially just a smokescreen?
I mean, there are.
I think it's
quarterback is slim.
I know quarterback is slim in this draft, but
how do you say you're not going to look at any?
Right. Russell Wilson has talked about being traded. Aaron Rodgers. Maybe do something to come to terms with Deshaun Watson, like making a trade to get someone for Deshaun Watson. Like to say Davis Mills is 100% your quarterback next year at this point.
General Mills
is ridiculous.
I concur with that. And they say this shit every single year where teams are going to go, oh, I'm definitely not going to look at a quarterback. This is a bad class. And then they start getting them into the offseason. They start working them out and stuff. And all of a sudden you have 4 quarterbacks in the first round. You know that shit's going to happen again this year. The quarterbacks are going to get overrated and they're all going to get drafted in the first round like every damn year. I do believe this is a little bit less of a class, but I don't give a shit what anyone says.
There'll be at least 2. There'll be 2 that pop up that'll go
2,
top.
Minimum 3.
There'll be top 5. Yeah, but there'll be 2 consensus.
2 in the top 5 is a good number. 3 in the top 10, I think.
Yeah, every year there's like multiple that are like, oh, they should be taken early in the first round. But then you get like some people that are like, nah, this person doesn't belong there. But there'll be 2 where everybody is unanimous, like, oh, these are top of the first round talents. Like, but for everything I've heard so far, and I don't dive deep into this stuff until after the season, everything I've heard so far is that there's maybe 1 this year that's even in consideration for one of the top picks.
All right, we've spent enough time on the Texans. And our next little bit of news, Aaron Rodgers is bitching about his foot again. He claimed that he did something bad and had a setback to the fracture in his foot. Is this something we need to monitor, or is he just being a whine baby?
I think everything that Aaron Rodgers says has to have quotations around it now. Like you have to do the air quotes. Like, it's a broken toe and it's really bad. But is it? His toe's fine.
I mean, he did look pretty good on that juke out last night against the Bears, and he did throw for 4 touchdowns. So I don't know what to think of this.
Like, I know he's a pro athlete, but if your foot hurts, your foot hurts. He doesn't even limp on the field.
Well, I mean, if he can throw for 4 touchdowns, I believe that Josh Allen's going to look pretty good with turf toe, and that's a little bit of news we can talk about too. Josh Allen does have turf toe, but he is expected to play this weekend. Do you believe that Josh Allen has the ability to help fantasy football owners win championships like he did last year, or are you a little bit concerned about him?
I don't think he will single-handedly win you them, but he's a good quarterback to have on a roster to help you win championships, like to make sure you're not getting 0 points. But that turf toe is something to monitor.
Ryan?
Yeah, Josh. So he has a pretty nice matchup against the Panthers next week, but then he does have the Patriots the week after that. Finishes out the season with the Falcons and Jets, but playoffs will probably be over by the time he gets that nice Jets matchup. So I'm nervous going into Week 16 having Josh Allen up against the Patriots defense.
All right, and our next little bit of news too. Melvin Gordon suffered a sprained thumb, but it is not expected to give any setbacks for him going forward. Are you guys impressed with that Denver backfield? It seems like both of them are viable going into these last few weeks and could help you win your championships.
Oh yeah, both starters definitely. I mean, I think they were number 3 and number 6 on the week so far this year or this week.
That's correct.
Yeah, so I mean that just shows the upside. The team itself has to be able to stay somewhat competitive. I know the score. I mean, this week they got up big fast after the halftime. As long as they can stay competitive in games, they're going to run the ball and they're going to use both of these guys.
It seems to be the mantra for this team, too, because, I mean, even the wide receivers were absolutely useless in the game. Denver wants to run the ball, as you mentioned, and play good defense. And that's the position they're looking to use to get into the playoffs. So look for that to continue into the fantasy football playoffs over the next few weeks. So I really don't feel good about any of these Denver wide receivers going forward. Are any of these guys viable?
Ooh, not this year, but next year when Aaron Rodgers is there.
That's a different story.
Boy. The wide receiver crew. Woo.
I think I just saw your desk lift up a little bit.
Yeah, it did. All right.
Cortland Sutton was solid before Judy showed up, but since Judy's been there, he's been pretty much a non-factor. I think Cortland Sutton's basically droppable in most leagues at this point.
In some off-season interesting news, too, Jimmy G and Trey Lance, according to Peter King, are in a dead heat for who's going to start for the 49ers next year. According to Peter King, the 49ers have no idea what they're going to do with these two in the offseason. Do you think Jimmy G has secured himself potentially for another year in this offense, or do you think the next 5 weeks are going to tell what's going to happen with this team going forward?
I know a lot of people think they should have just switched to Trey Lance this year because of all the capital they spent on him. But I'm thinking they're going to stick with Jimmy G the rest of this year. Hope he balls out. He's got easy matchups the rest of the way. Get him in the playoffs. And hope that they can trade him to a team like the Texans or something of that nature. And hope to actually get something out of Jimmy Garoppolo in the offseason.
You know where I think a good fit for Jimmy Garoppolo is, and I could see him being traded there in the offseason, is the Panthers. They're a team that's ready to win and need a veteran quarterback. I really feel like he could be a trade target for them. I think that'd be a great fit.
Yeah, I like that. That would be a good one.
Yeah, so I think this is more smoke, this report up from – I don't believe anything the fucking 49ers beat reporters say anyway. They're always wrong. True. So I honestly believe they're going to go with the veteran this year. They'll build up his stock and then trade him in the offseason to a team like the Panthers.
Right, so I don't think this is necessarily smoke, but I just don't think it's a decision that they're really going to have to make come regular season next year.
Oh, I think it's smoke. I think it's a report the 49ers put out there because they want it floated out there. They want to drum up interest in Jimmy Garoppolo after the season.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, and our next little bit of news, too. Taylor Heineke ended up hurting his knee, but he's expected to be ready for 15. We'll skate right over that because he doesn't seem to be fantasy relevant going forward unless a bunch of quarterbacks go down with COVID. Kareem Hunt is undergoing an MRI on his knee Monday. Is he done for fantasy football this season? Boys?
I mean, he hasn't been doing much since he came back from his last injury, has he?
No, he's been pretty irrelevant this season.
So he's played 2 weeks since he came off an injury, and he was running back 62. Oh, both games were against Baltimore. Running back 62 and running back 46. So, I don't know.
Now, is this going to give any value to Dearness Johnson going forward, or is this going to be just volume that straight goes to Nick Chubb because the Browns are contending for playoff spot?
Well, in most of those weeks where Kareem Hunt wasn't there, Dearness Johnson wasn't anything. The only weeks where he was were the 2 games where Nick Chubb also was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, I don't. I mean, maybe a desperate flex play. But the last 3 weeks, again, one of the last week he played without Kareem Hunt there, he was running back 49. So,
yeah. So with that, are you looking to handcuff Dearness Johnson to fantasy teams for playoff time if Kareem Hunt does go down? I mean, if Chubb does go down.
If you have the spot on your if your starting lineup is solid, we are completely done with bye weeks now, right?
Yeah, this was
week
the last
14. Yep. Yeah, if your starting lineup is solid, your whole bench should almost be handcuffs, and like you need a second, a good second quarterback. If you have one, keep them. If you don't have a good one, and it's just going to be a streaming one anyways, just get rid of them and just start picking up all the viable handcuffs you can.
And players that your opponent's going to want. That's another viable strategy.
Like, I doubt he's out there, but Alexander Madison, you want him. You want Dearness Johnson because of that role. You want, again, Dowdy's out there, but like Tony Pollard. People that you know if they get the job, they are going to be winners for a week or more if it's a long injury for the starter.
Okay. And some more news too. Brandon Staley says he expects Keenan Allen to play this Thursday against the Chiefs. That is a monstrous matchup, I think, coming up for Thursday, and I am very excited that that's the first player I'm going to be having play for fantasy playoffs. So let's see how look on Keenan Allen.
I hope that he plays as long as I beat Ryan in Dynasty this week. If not, I kind of hope he doesn't play because I could use Jalen Guyton again in the winner league.
That Dynasty playoff match is the saddest playoff match I've ever seen in my life.
It's absolutely pathetic.
I've lost
what you guys are doing there.
Like
it's so
Keenan
sad.
Allen, Lamar Jackson got injured after getting me 1 point.
If you two could both be eliminated from the playoffs at the same time for underperforming, like I think this is a situation where it should happen.
Oh yeah,
we deserve it.
Definitely. I literally had to start. I had to start Cortland Sutton.
It's so bad.
If one of us wins, the whole league should be mad
because not only did I lose Keenan Allen, I also lost Elijah Moore. Antonio Brown is suspended.
You're in dire straits.
I don't know why I started Cortland Sutton over Marvin Jones. I don't know what I was thinking there.
When I saw that, I was like,
oh by the way, Rashad Penny's on my bench.
Well, I had Renfro on my bench. If that makes you feel any better.
You said a shitty playoff game.
I could have put Guyton up where Sutton is and Rashad Penny right there. That would have worked out. I would have guaranteed myself the win.
Instead, you're going to be sweating it with Kyler Murray tonight.
What do I need? 30? What do I need?
25. You're good.
Oh, yeah. Done.
Yeah,
Moving on. Let's go, Keenan.
All right. And news that'll bring Ron down from Cloud9. Daniel Jones was visiting a neck specialist on Monday. What's your thoughts on this, Mr. Seymour?
Our season's over. Put Jake Fromm in. Let's see what we got.
He wants a top 5 pick. He's good.
Yep.
They're not getting a top 5 pick.
With the record we have right now, if we lose out, yes, we will.
You're not going to lose out. You're going to win those meaningless games and pick in the top 10 where you're supposed to be, just like every year.
I swear to fucking God, Joe. Why you got to put that evil on me?
All right, moving on. Emmanuel Sanders left the game with a knee injury. Moving on. We're done with that. I just needed to bring you down from your high horse.
Up now.
Yeah, well, now you can talk about Emmanuel Sanders. Okay, he left the game with a knee injury. And I believe he's going to be shaky for week 15. Is this going to increase the value of Cole Beasley this week, who seems to be becoming more of a focal point of the Bills' offense?
Honestly, I think it's a non-issue. Emmanuel Sanders hasn't done anything in the past 7 weeks, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He has been outside of the top 40 for wide receivers every game but one since week 8. And he's in that one game, it was wide receiver 31. So
he's been so bad that I traded him for Calvin Ridley when he went out, and I'm not even mad. like I'm still not upset about it.
That's a good one.
Wouldn't it be funny if Calvin Ridley came back this week?
Well, that's the thing. Oh man, I can't wait to get Calvin Ridley so low in drafts next year.
You're not getting him in our dynasty league. I'm hanging on to him.
Oh, you have him? I was thinking about trying to trade for him.
Well, you can send offers over, but you're not going to get him for nothing.
I might be able to get you for something.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, Rashad Penny, 2-touchdown game. What the hell happened with this? How did he end up having a 2-touchdown game after he looked so useless like the rest of the running backs in this stable?
Didn't he have a really good matchup?
Yeah, he did. They played the Texans.
There you go.
So do you have any confidence in him going forward? He's playing the Rams next week.
Well, I mean,
I kind of don't.
That's a lot harder than the Texans.
It's the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, he's got the Rams, the Bears. Week 17, he's got the Lions. So if there's still no one else there by week 17, he's got a great matchup there for maybe if you're in the championship. But if you have a good pivot option away from Rashad Penny, I would consider doing that for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. And in PPR leads, he was only targeted once for 1 yard.
Yeah.
So really he's not involved in the passing game whatsoever.
Yeah, so if they're in a shootout and they get down, they're not going to use him in the passing game.
No.
So.
And Ron, what happened to Lamar Jackson this week?
Oh, God.
There's a banana peel on the field.
There's a banana peel on the field. He injured his ankle. Luckily, it was not a high ankle sprain. It's just your normal everyday ankle sprain, I guess, is how you want to call it. He's day-to-day. Optimism that he's going to play this upcoming week. Still, he is a running quarterback. He's been doing a lot better as a passer this year, minus a 4-interception game. But his upside will be capped until his ankle is 100% healed. I would not be shocked if they held him out this week because they can handle another loss if they need to.
So are you looking to pick up Huntley as a handcuff for him this week?
If they're 2 quarterback, if there's no other option and you don't have another option, like I would rather play Huntley over Cam Newton.
Brian flat out says no. Obviously, he's got a different opinion.
In single quarterback leagues, it's definitely a no.
Yeah, so I'm thinking single quarterback league. There's better quarterbacks out there. I mean, just looking at our waivers, you have Big Ben, Taysom Hill, even Davis Mills. I'd start Davis Mills over Huntley.
I would start all 3 of those people over Huntley probably.
Who's Taysom Hill playing this week? Is it another bad run defense?
He is playing Tampa.
Yeah, I don't think he's in for a good matchup.
The things with rush defenses is, though, that goes by running back a lot of times. Yeah. It goes by fantasy points to running backs. It doesn't necessarily go to fantasy points by quarterbacks.
Well, I believe it's going to this week because to exploit the Buccaneers' defense, you're going to need to pass the ball, which means a lot of screen passes to Alvin Kamara, I feel like. But anyway, back to you, Ryan.
To put it in perspective, Josh Allen rushed for them on 100 yards.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. So
maybe he is viable this week then.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I mean, there's also no running back in the Bills' offense, apparently, other than Josh
True.
Allen.
Right, where the Saints have Alvin Kamara.
Didn't they not attempt to run for the whole first half?
It was the third quarter before they attempted a running back run.
I mean, when my starting running back is Singletary, I wouldn't either.
The very first play that a running back, I believe, touched a ball was on the fake punt. And he ended up losing 4 yards.
They were like, Bill beat us by only running. We're going to win by not running.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. And
we're going to take a piece of our own medicine.
Wait, did they win that? They didn't win that game, right? They ended up
losing? They lost that game.
I was so invested in the Cincinnati 49ers game at that point that
you haven't seen the memes where it says just like old times and it shows Bill and Tom Brady shaking hands because they beat the Bills the 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, Brady's 33-3 against the Bills or something obnoxious like that.
It's ridiculous. That is wild.
He owns that city. All right, do you guys have any other news you want to go over before we get into the games?
Nope.
Austin Eckler, they're saying, I don't know, they're trying to be optimistic, but they do have a Thursday night game this week. So if you have Eckler on your team, I'm looking at I'm looking at other running backs on the waiver wire, maybe even Justin Jackson for a handcuff.
This will be your bye week, though.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're still not going to want Justin Jackson for the week after.
Bitch.
So I'd say that's one thing. Also, I saw, I believe Philip Lindsay landed on the COVID. So now you have all 3 of Miami's running backs on the COVID list. Philip Lindsay, Myles Gaskin, Salvin Ahmad. So that could be Duke Johnson. Duke Johnson could end up being the lead back there. I don't know if you want any part of that.
Johnson.
It's been years
since
I've heard that.
My
name.
God.
Yeah. I don't know if you want any piece of that, but just
I don't
something to
think
be
he's
aware
ever
of.
had. I don't think he's ever had over 100 rushes in one single season. Like that's who this man is.
And he's the bell cow for the Dolphins.
Yeah, he's on their practice squad right now, so that just kind of tells you how deep they have to go.
Is there anyone out there they can sign?
No, Adrian Peterson's already been signed by Seattle.
Bell's a free agent again, right?
Le'Veon Bell. Oh.
Do they really want to go down that route?
They got to do something. They can't just roll in with just Duke Johnson. They have to bring someone in.
You know how funny it would be that they picked up Bell. He actually played well for a few weeks, and then we have someone just like last year trying to pick Bell up for the championship game.
Listen, that's why I held on to my waiver priority. Certain fantasy league members can hate it as much as they want, but waiver priority matters.
Especially when you don't need a defense.
It's a good thing you don't have a dictator for a league commissioner.
Oh,
no, just a special guest.
I have a dictator, all right, but
because someone, I would think a dictator would be like, you have to make these moves, and you have to do these things. But
well, a certain person in our league is going to be like, no matter what, he's going to bring it to the league meeting that you have to have your lineup filled out no matter what every single week. And we're going to bring it to a vote, and we're going to squash that.
I would vote for it, not going to lie.
I don't think I would because I enjoy this facet of the game.
Yeah, it's all strategy. I would vote it down probably.
All right, I think we're ready to get into the games, right?
Yeah, almost.
And when he gets to the drop.
Now we're ready.
That's how I felt after watching your guys' dynasty matchup this week. Absolutely
awful. We feel we're the one in the dynasty matchup.
We feel it too.
Dude, so let's, for the listeners,
even if I win, I can't brag about it. Like,
right. For the listeners here, Ryan and me are playing in our first round of our dynasty playoffs. I have a quarterback. I have Kyler Murray going tonight. Ryan is done. I need 25 points to beat Ryan, and his score of a whopping 91.
Thank you, Zach Wilson.
There's a
91.8.
There's a chance that neither one of us will score over 100 points in this match.
In a playoff game.
In a playoff game. Yeah.
With two quarterbacks.
Makes me really nervous to go against those two titans that are at the top of this league.
Yeah.
In a two quarterback.
You guys are definitely playing the long game in Dynasty.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ron's team is super old.
It's so old. I probably got the oldest team in Dynasty, according to Joe.
Well, that's all right. I flipped my entire team over, so I may have the youngest now. Who knows? I don't even know what the age of my team is.
You did pawn Big Ben off on me.
I did. I gave you a 39-year-old.
Yeah.
If you would have started Big Ben this week, though.
Yeah, if I would have started Big Ben, I would have been golden.
You would have been golden if you started Taysom Hill this week.
There's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts that I could have done this week.
And you got them all wrong.
And I got them all. I got Jalen Guyton right. All right.
It's the only thing keeping you
in
this.
One thing right.
I had so many opportunities to make the right choice, and I got them all wrong.
Yeah. That's how I feel too. Like that's what this matchup was.
The only way to benefit from that is when your opponent does it all wrong too.
It's like when you fail a true false test and you're like, how? Like 50-50. I was halfway there.
I had a 50-50 chance of getting this correct, man.
Like, man.
It's worse when you get every single one of them wrong on a 50-50.
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh man.
Like, I got a 0 on a true false test. Like,
speaking of people who get a 0 on true false tests, Urban Meyer, does he just fucking hate James Robinson or what the hell's going on? And what happened in that Jags and Titans game?
Well, then did you see in the press conference where they mentioned, they mentioned like some defensive player and he's like, oh yeah, we're definitely working to get him more involved. I don't have my sheets in front of me, but I think he did pretty good tonight. He played 0 snaps. Like,
Dude, he fumbles the ball. They basically, Urban Meyer puts him in timeout like he's a college kid still. And then his quarterback's bitching, where is my best player? I would like my best player out there. And he's like, oh, fine. I guess we'll put him out there for a few more snaps. Like, how does Urban Meyer still have a job? Trevor Lawrence is basically begging for you to put weapons out there for him. And
They are.
You have
He won't have a
Robinson.
job after this season. He'll be gone.
I don't think he'll make it the rest of the season. I bet you he gets fired before week
There's
18.
only 4 weeks left.
I don't give a shit. They're going to make a point, I think. I think they'll can his
No,
ass.
he's there.
I think if they were going to make a point, they would have made it. They would have made it before this time to see if they could.
Apology bet. Ron versus Joe. Urban Meyer. Does he get fired before the season is over?
Does it have to be Urban Meyer?
Yes.
Yes. What do you mean? Does it have to be Urban
Yes.
Meyer?
What do you mean? Like, who else do
How
you want
about,
to pick?
how about this? Because that is a very one-sided bet. How about you pick a coach?
How
And
is
I'll
it?
take
Wait.
no. Pick any coach you want. Now listen.
I don't
'cause
think
it's
any
not-
coach is going to get fired this season.
No.
I think it's too late in the season. I think everybody.
No,
will
no,
make
no,
it to the end of the season.
not in season. You pick a coach who you're confident is gonna get fired. I will take Urban Meyer, and the one that gets fired first loses.
What?
I don't know. That's a stupid bet.
What? That's dumb.
That's not a good bet.
Fine.
I think a good bet was.
I'll take the Urban Meyer bet then.
Okay, so
Wait,
here we
is
go.
it he gets
Apology
fired?
bet.
Wait, time out. So you'll take that Urban Meyer gets fired in season.
In season.
Yes.
So before the end of week 18.
Yes.
So as soon as his game's over, week 18, if he gets fired the next day, that's off season.
No,
Yes.
no. No,
What?
you'd have to go until
What?
Black Monday. If he gets fired Sunday, it still counts.
What?
I have until midnight of that Sunday because they could fire him after the game.
Yeah, after his season's over.
Yeah, once the last game happens.
I'll even
That'd be the
give
end
you
of
if
the
they
season.
fire him, if they do something wild and fire him halftime of week 18, that's still in season.
Yeah, that's still in. But once that fourth quarter hits zero, season's over.
Once it's all zeros, that season's over for him.
Fine. For the viewers and for the heckling fandom, I'll take that bet.
I'll start writing it up now.
There it is.
There it
There
is.
it is.
We have an apology bet. Anyway, we have a game to talk about. So
Breaking news.
yeah,
Urban.
that's what I was
Urban
just
Meyer
gonna
was
say.
just fired.
I was gonna say the absolute worst thing for me right now would be that to happen on air.
So anyway, do you guys have any confidence in James Robinson going forward into these fantasy playoffs? Urban Meyer just fucking hates the guy. Can you even play him?
You have to play him. Yeah.
You don't
You
like
have to
it.
play him. You don't like it. You feel sick. Have a bucket next to you just in case.
He had 6 carries.
I'm going to have a bucket if I play him. 6 fucking carries.
If it was a competent coach, I would say yes. He's seen that having him on the field is better than not having him on the field.
I'm banking on that incompetence.
I just don't like. I don't even understand why would you go draft a running back in the first round after the season that James Robinson had. I don't know what James did to him. Like I don't know if he knocked ice cream out of his hand or popped a balloon. I don't know what he did. But
walked
Urban
up to his kid's
Meyer-
birthday party and just started
Yeah.
smashing the cake.
Yeah, like
all I know is this: they need to fire him before he convinces the GM to trade him. That's all you need to do because he's going to be in that GM's chair and be like, "Listen, trading for a 7th round pick, we don't need this guy." And he's an immensely talented player, which should be on that roster because you have no effing talent on that roster.
Well, they did draft Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne will be back next year. I don't even think his injury was a lower body injury, right? Wasn't it a upper body injury that he got knocked out with?
I don't even remember, dude. It was so long ago.
I want to feel like it was an upper body. I know it wasn't like an ACL or an Achilles or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's okay. He dropped out for now. Yeah, but other players in this game do that we were talking about. I'm just going to drape right over that because that's off-season talk. Treadwell in this game, 68 yards, 4 out of 6. Do you have any confidence in playing Treadwell going forward? He seems to be picking up some pace in this part of the year.
Yeah, he's done that before, and then all of a sudden it was someone else again. I don't trust anything on this Jaguars offense right now, hence why I didn't start Marvin Jones, even though I probably should have. But the only person I would even slightly trust to play is James Robinson.
And that's the only pieces you really can play.
Real thin margin.
Oh my God, Lawrence threw four interceptions in this game, and he only has thrown one touchdown in the last 6 weeks. So disappointing, man. And I think it's all on his head coach. Like, I think he's going to have so much of a better season next year. On the other side of this ball, though, too, dude, Julio Jones returned for the Titans, and he went 4 for 33. Can you play him as a wide receiver 3 going forward into the fantasy playoffs, or is he someone you're looking to bench and evaluate for another week?
I think you could play him as a wide receiver 3. He only was on the field for 40-something% of snaps, but was targeted, and I can't remember the exact number, but I'm pretty sure it was over 80% of his routes that he ran, he was targeted.
Okay.
And as long as A.J. Brown is out, he is going to be the alpha, and they need him.
He was actually targeted more than any other receiver on the team.
Yeah.
In his first game back.
Note to self, play Julio Jones against Ron in the playoffs. Okay, and our next player to talk about here is Foreman, who had 13 carries and had a few catches in this game. Do you guys like Foreman going forward?
Yeah. I mean, this team wants to run the ball, and they've chosen Dante Foreman as their guy, so.
I'm with it.
Plus, if they can get the passing game going better with Julio Jones and when A.J. Brown comes back, Dante Foreman will be facing less stacked boxes, and he'll start playing a little bit better also.
Okay. You guys have any other thoughts on this game, or are we ready to move on? Because I think we spent enough time on the Jaguars.
Move it along.
All right. Let's talk about one decent team and one shitty team. We'll go over the Jets and Saints because I like to get this out of the way really quick every single week because it's nothing but heartbreak city for me. Hill in this game, as I predicted, helped aid his running game. He went 50 for 21 for passes, had 11 carries for 73 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. And Alvin Kamara is back with 22 carries and 120 yards. So statistically, they almost ran for 200 yards combined, as I predicted for this game, because I know my team's got a shitty defense. And if you have a match up in your lineups against the Jets, play those players because they are going to perform every damn week because there's no pieces on that defense. Vic Vanette also played pretty well for a tight end, 3 catches for 44. So again, if you play the Jets, play the tight end against them because they can't cover tight ends. And I wouldn't play any Jets until Michael Carter's back, honestly. Elijah Moore's on the IR, not going to play for the next 3 weeks. And there's discussion about Michael Carter coming back this week. And he is really, I believe, the only viable piece in this offense that I would even potentially trust going forward. And that was only as a flex player.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Any thoughts on this game, guys? Or are you guys ready to move on to the next one?
Some idiot I know started Zach Wilson in Dynasty, and it was a terrible choice.
I don't think he had much choice to start Zach Wilson, though.
I didn't.
And I'll give you a hint, guys. It wasn't the Jets fan.
It wasn't the Jets fan. And it also wasn't the person that drafted him in Dynasty.
Yeah,
it's the person he traded him to.
All right, you guys pushed me. It was me.
You got me. Singled me out.
All right, let's talk about a much more exciting fantasy relevant game, guys. What happened during that Bills and Bucs game?
A lot.
We'll lay it down for us there.
Unless you're the Bills running backs, and then nothing. Absolutely nothing. The Bills running backs are full set for the rest of the season for me, I think. You can't start them. You can't trust them.
Like, don't even roster them. They're a waste of
Pretty
space
close.
on your bench.
Pretty close to that. I agree.
Speaking of running backs, is Leonard Fournette in discussion for Fantasy League MVP, considering how well he's played this year? And where you drafted him?
He's definitely where you drafted him. He's definitely up there.
Like,
if you're going by that, then he's definitely
probably steal
up
of the
there
season.
Yeah,
I'd say it's him or Debo.
He went for $1 in our auction league, and then Debo went for $2 in our auction league, and they're both on my team.
And I mean, and in snake formats, dude, people were drafting Ronald Jones before him. So what's that telling you? I mean, he really was a steal because when you made that draft pick, if you had to make that draft pick, you were vomiting in a bucket at the time, and boy, has it paid off for you.
Yeah, is he still top 5 fantasy running back?
Who, Fournette?
Yeah.
He's got to be still. I mean, he had another big week, 19 carries, 113 yards, and a touchdown this week. He's been highly consistent. He's got to be top 5.
According to our sleeper app on our in our league, he is the number 4 running back.
Dude, that is impressive as hell compared to when he was picked. Considering just incredible. Considering other players that have been pretty low for the last few seasons and are very underappreciated. Tom Brady, too, another fantastic game here. What's your guys' thoughts on him going forward? I mean, 31 of 46, 363 yards and 2 TDs.
Yeah, I guess he's Tom Brady doing Tom Brady things, like always.
Sua, elaborate a little bit more. No way it happened. I have the best running back matchups in week 16. Tell us what you got. Yeah, tell us what you got. Well, Ryan tells us about his lost love, Tom Brady.
No, he left me. There's still some. I'm going to counseling once to twice a week, working through it. But pretty nice end of the season for him too. He's got the Saints, the Panthers, the Jets, and then the Panthers again. But that one doesn't matter. But got the Saints and Carolina coming up for 15 and 16, and then the Jets for week 17, probably championship game. You love that.
That's true.
That's crazy.
Ryan, you have Tom Brady in our league, don't you? In winner.
Yeah, he has Brady. No, didn't you trade Brady?
No, I traded Brady.
You traded Brady.
Dak Prescott then?
Dak has been killing me. I don't know what is. We'll get to that later. But dude,
we'll get to that later.
Get it together, guy.
Yeah, and in this game too, Godwin and Mike Evans both had a similar outlook to what they had last week. Godwin 10 receptions, 105 yards. Mike Evans 6 for 91 and a touchdown. It feels like a similar outlook for these guys the last few weeks. Is this the outlook that they're going to have going into playoffs?
I'm just waiting on Antonio Brown to see if they plan on bringing him back when his suspension's up, because that's going to be huge for the value of. I mean, I think they're both very viable, even with Antonio Brown there. But
he's sitting on my bench. I am more than happy to be patient with wide receivers because Brandon Ayuk sat on my bench for 11 weeks, and boy, is that paying off now. I need him too.
Yeah.
Too bad he didn't get that touchdown the other day.
Yeah.
He got one this week.
Oh, that's right. They did end up giving it to him.
He did get it.
I'm still sitting on Antonio
over there.
I'm sitting on Antonio Brown in another league as well, just hoping.
I've got him in Dynasty, just chilling on my bench.
I got him in winner.
Week 15 is his last week of suspension, I think.
And then they'll cut him.
They won't cut him.
We'll see. Oh,
Tom Brady loves Antonio Brown though. So if Brady has any say in it, I think he's bad.
Yeah. Also, Gronk in this game 5 for 62, so he's going to have better weeks too. And Perriman getting that touchdown, I think you can just ignore that. That's not going to be a regular thing. I will not be picking up Rashad Perriman in any leagues. Suick finally got to us with that comment too. So his amazing matchups for the week are Cordell Patterson plays Detroit, and I am starting James Robinson that week because Edmonds will be back and Henderson will. So starting James Robinson. Well, Sua, that's great. Robinson's probably got a really good matchup, but Urban Meyer actually has to fucking play him for him to be productive. But he's still grounded and got his cell phone taken away, so we'll see if he actually puts him on the field. Dirty little asshole.
Dirty little asshole.
Urban Meyer is a dirty little asshole.
Yeah.
Not just at bars either.
Oh, James Robinson does not. Week 17 is against the Patriots.
That's still going to play.
You don't want any of that.
Yeah. That's not a great matchup.
All right, so what happened on the Bills side of the ball?
Oh, week 16, he said.
So.
Oh, the Jets. Yeah, that's better.
That's much better. Shut up. We're on the Bills.
Bills
What happened to the Bills?
Bills had a solid game. Josh Allen finally, not finally, but had a very strong game. 300 yards passing, another 100 on the ground. Stephon Diggs, typical. Dawson Knox finally bounced back, got really involved with 7 receptions for 60 yards. Stephon Diggs probably should have had another touchdown, but a pass interference call went uncalled, so I don't know. Oh, they would have just ran it in anyway, but
Sua? None of
I'm
that.
losing by 90.
Cup can't go off. Connor can't get 20. So neither one of those. I will give you the cards D. They can do whatever they want. Same with Matt Prater. If Kyler could just go ahead and get all of those points for you, maybe Kyler can just get 70,
Break a fantasy football record.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's fine with me.
Not unheard of.
It'll make my score look way more respectable for one.
I don't even care about the Bills anymore.
But Cup and Connor is a no-go. They can't. I don't know if you heard. I need them to shut up.
But they'll probably be good. So.
What is Vark Tech?
I don't know. That's why it's lost over it.
It's a bot. We're moving on. All right, 49ers and Bengals. So, as I stated earlier in this game, Jimmy G looked pretty good, like a QB2. 27-41, 296. Wilson carried the rock for them, 13 carries for 86 yards. Debo also ran the ball. I'm just starting to believe he's a running back. 37 and 1 catch for 22. And Kittle was a beast, 13 for 155 and a touchdown. Boys, is he a top 2 tight end going forward and forever?
Well, not forever.
Forever.
But yes, going forward.
Yeah,
he's probably
for
the next year or two at least. But definitely not forever.
He's bad.
Ayuk also 6 for 62 and a touchdown. I'm pretty happy with this. Is he a true wide receiver 2? And does he have viability to help win you your championship?
I missed who you mentioned.
Brandon Ayuk.
I would say more wide receiver 3. Not wide receiver 2, but
I could go 3.
All right.
He's a hard 3, a soft 2.
He's soft doing 2. All right, so Burrow in this game too, 25-34, 348, 2 touchdowns. Mixon 78 and 38 yards on 2 catches.
Mixon, that's a soft 2.
That is a soft 2. And then Higgins and Jamar Chase both had interesting games. Higgins continues to be very hot off 5 receptions and 114, but Jamar Chase had 5 for 77 and 2 touchdowns. What's with these weird up and down weeks for Jamar Chase?
There's another guy called T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Capping his upside.
And then you got Uzomah there too that can always steal some red zone stuff.
That and Tyler Boyd. This offense has too many weapons. The weeks where you saw Chase have his explosion games, Higgins really wasn't there, and he just came back from injury and wasn't playing top notch yet. So he was like the only perimeter guy. Now they've got him and Higgins both healthy, both playing perimeter roles. You got Tyler Boyd and Uzomah tearing up the middle of the field, and you can't leave either one of those guys alone either. So it's totally capping Chase's upside.
Yeah, I believe that. And he heard what all the reporters were saying about him, that he was underperforming. He's like, well, fuck that. I'm done with that. I am taking over first role on this team, and Chase can have his year next year. All right, let's talk about Cam Newton and the Panthers and Falcons. Matt Ryan sucks for fantasy. Russell Gage stayed involved, 4 for 64. Kyle Pitts got back on track with 5 for 61, and Matt Patterson, again, seemed to be the centerpiece, but was ineffective in this game. What do you guys think of the Falcons offense?
First off, don't say Kyle Pitts got back on track. Kyle Pitts has never been on track.
Excuse me, he's still a top 8 tight end this year. They're all horrible, so he's back on track according to the position.
It's a tight end. Being top 8 is like being negative 37.
Yeah, once you get down that low, it doesn't.
He's finished above top 10 3 times all season.
Yeah, I mean, he has those 2 20-point games, which one was versus the Jets, so like, give me a break.
You gotta throw that one out.
Well, compared to what he's played the rest of the season, I consider it back on track.
I think it's right around his average.
Your math is flawed.
We already knew that. Is he? He was just very still. I thought he was frozen for a minute.
No, I was listening to you intently insult my my math.
Where's the Joe math one? I thought we were supposed to be getting a Joe math button.
I'll work on it. If you want a Joe math one, you make the damn drop then.
No.
Anyway,
Joe, you make your own drop.
That is part of your punishment, is you have to make the Joe math drop.
I will make the Joe math drop if Urban Meyer doesn't get fired in season.
Even better for my apology, man, I guess. You're going to just talk about how awesome I am, and then you're going to be making your own drop. I love it.
Anyway, what do we think about the Falcons offense going forward for fantasy football?
Matt Ryan's a no-go.
Cordero Patterson is about the only person you can feel confident in.
I'd give Gage a go if I'm in a pickle.
Okay, and do we like Robbie Anderson for the Panthers going forward? He finally had a game.
No, I don't trust it.
Oasis in the desert, moving on from him.
Yep.
And DJ Moore is a confident start going forward, no matter who plays quarterback.
Semi-confident. I mean, you'll throw him in there as your wide receiver 3.
Yeah. And how do we feel about that Panthers running game?
I don't.
Startable?
Like they really miss Calvin.
One at a time, boys. One at a time.
I feel like they're really missing Christian McCaffrey.
I think that's obvious.
Yes.
Ryan, what were you saying?
No, as long as Cam Newton's there, it kind of negates any value for any running back. I mean, stole another red zone touchdown on the running back. So
you guys aren't willing to play Chuba Hubbard in the flex in the playoffs?
No.
Probably not. Probably not.
Maybe.
Their next 2 weeks are at Buffalo and against Tampa Bay. So not the best matchups.
No. All right.
And
Ron.
He had against Atlanta, which is probably one of the better matchups, and he only finishes the running back 25. So
all right, Ron. Giants and Chargers, the floor is yours.
The Giants suck. Chargers are better.
All right, get out of your depression and give us a fantasy relevance.
Jalen Guyton is definitely a must start as long as Keenan Allen or Mike Williams is missing time. Goes right back to the bench if they are both active.
Agreed.
Jared Cook has been catching a lot of touchdowns as of late. Good streaming option if you are in a pickle and you need someone to catch a touchdown. Austin Eckler is out most likely this upcoming week, I would assume. They used roughly, I think they used about 37 rolls of tape when they were taping up his ankle. I don't know if either one of you guys seen that.
Yeah.
I did.
But they just kept going. Doesn't seem like it's a good thing. So I would assume he's out at least this upcoming week.
Yeah.
Justin Jackson got the bulk of the wood. Work.
You like Wood, don't you?
Derrick Henry is not supposed to end up playing until week 18 at the earliest, I think.
At the earliest.
So no,
They're in the playoffs.
so. Yeah. So no, he won't play for the fantasy season.
This is a question for Ryan. Will Henry play, you think?
That's what we just answered.
No,
I'm letting him answer now.
No, they're saving him for week 18 earliest, possibly then. If not that, then maybe playoffs if they make it.
And yeah, Sue, you could pick up Justin Jackson, but
yeah, if you have Eckler, he's a solid handcuff.
Yeah, I believe the other running backs in that backfield just don't know how to play football. I think that's probably your best pickup.
sure they know how. They're just not very good at
it. Are you sure about it? Have you seen them run the ball?
I don't see any NFL players
I
don't see any NFL players on the field like, wait, what?
Except Cam Newton, who can't read a playbook.
What do I do with this? Let's hear.
Ask Taysom Hill when JJ sent us that video of him throwing it basically backwards on the hike.
Like
how do I football?
Well, so many quarterbacks have done that. Like
he has a bad finger. Give him a break.
That's a good point.
And Ron, is everyone in the Giants wide receiving core unplayable when Kyle Rudolph leads the team with 2 receptions and 66 yards?
And one of those came off of one like 60 of those 66 yards came off of one play.
Yeah.
Where he looked, that was an interesting catch and run.
So what do you feel about Barkley, though?
I feel like he's been playing well, and if he could get a
right?
decent offensive line behind him, he'd probably be fine. My only problem with him is run straight. He'll like get up to the line, and then they'll stand there, bounce back and forth for 30 minutes, and then decide to run. It's like, just go. Devontae Booker gets in there, he gets the ball, and just runs straight, and seems to pick up more yards than Saquon Barkley.
Are we going to see any big games from him in the fantasy playoffs?
I think you're going to see just sort of like the games you're already getting from him, which are just like he's had good games. Like this week, he was the running back 10 so far on the week. Last week, 21. Week 12 wasn't as good. Week 11, he was running back 22. If you have him as a running back 2, then he's fine. France?
Robert Renaud, welcome to Garbage Time Fantasy Football. We have an international star here, I guess.
Oh, my goodness.
He's a Rams fan, and he actually wants to talk to us. What the hell is wrong with you, Robert? You want to join the Heckling fandom, feel free to like the video and join the subscribers below. I mean, for some reason, Sua seems to join us every week, so we'd love to have another one on here. And you have any fantasy football questions, feel free to ask him here. We'd love to hear him.
And why not go Rams? Well, because I need them to not play very good today for my fantasy football life. Okay. That's why not go Rams today.
Yeah.
Listen, if Ron wins, we are going to have someone drop out of our league. It's
a possibility. He's not happy already.
He is not.
I just want to point out that you guys are all like, someone with a 6-8 record is going to make the team with your crazy playoff format. It's going to happen regardless.
All right. Yeah, potentially.
Oh, man.
And I was thinking about that like a couple weeks ago. I'm like, it's most likely going to happen anyways, where a 6-8 team is going to make the playoffs. Like, craziness. Y'all
doesn't make it right.
All right, Chiefs or Raiders, guys. Give us a lay down of this game.
The Raiders
that Chiefs defense, though.
Fucking great.
Right? That Chiefs defense has been playing outstanding the past couple weeks.
And like, was it the Raiders that stood on the Chiefs logo at midfield?
They did, and that was an absolute disaster after that.
Last year, after they beat the Chiefs in their stadium, they like drove around the stadium in their bus too.
Don't do that.
There's some rivalry starting to brew there.
So the Chiefs don't need added motivation to destroy you.
So the Chiefs were like, so when the Chiefs demolished them, they played Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round as the Raiders were leaving the field over the PA system.
I think the only one that didn't step onto that logo must have been Hunter Renfrow, because that man showed up the ball 13 for 117 at the touchdown. He just seems to be unstoppable for the Raiders. A good comparison I heard for him today is a young Wes Welker, who just is shifty and gets a shitload of possessions, man. He's just a PPR machine.
However, you have to be careful.
On my bench.
You have to be careful with Hunter Renfrow, because when Darren Waller comes back, Renfro's numbers suffer because they both play not the same position, but they both work in the same part of the field, and that's the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
So when Darren Waller comes back, Renfrow is not as dominant as he has been.
And I think we can all agree that Foster Moreau is not a solid substitute when Waller is out. That is not a plug and play. So don't do it, or it's going to be sad.
Yeah, no, we kind of are done with the Foster Moreau experiment, I think. I believed in it, and it is over. Guys, what happened with this Chiefs backfield, though? It felt like 6 or 7 guys were getting involved in that backfield.
I think they got such a big lead that they just started putting some of their other guys in. I know Gore had like a monster run. So like
he did.
his 66 yards, I think over half of that came off of one carry.
And Edwards-Helaire, 10 of 37 and 2 touchdowns. I mean, not great rushing numbers, but he got the 2 touchdowns. They're obviously putting him in the red zone.
Got the points.
He did.
And they were putting Williams in there also quite a bit, and that worries me.
Yeah.
It definitely caps CEH's upside.
Yeah, they seem to be liking to use him in the passing game, too. I mean, he got a passing touchdown. The wide receivers were spread around this game, too. Hill got his 4 for 76 and a touchdown. Hardman got 2 for 59. And Josh Gordon finally got his first touchdown. So,
No touchdown for Hill.
No touchdown for Hill.
Or Kelsey, right?
No, I think Hill got a touchdown.
Nope.
You sure?
I'm looking at the box score right now.
And it says he didn't? I swear to God, he got
Nope.
one.
Gore got 1. Edwards-Helaire got 2. Williams got 1. Josh Gordon got 1. Josh Gordon.
He did.
Man, what a story.
Look at me talking out my ass here trying to give Tyreek a touchdown. Whew.
Yeah, I mean, I've always, I don't want to say felt for Josh Gordon because you're doing your own stupid shit, getting yourself suspended. But I think, using marijuana is not a great reason to be suspended. But at the same
for
point,
3 seasons.
But at the same time, after you got suspended the first time, maybe realize probably going to happen again if you keep doing your fun time things.
It's all right, man. Don't be mad he's taking the Ricky Williams approach to life. Okay, it's a good approach.
No, I'm fine with it overall, but
like
it's either if it was either smoke some pot, make millions of dollars, one of those is going to trump the other one every time.
Okay. Let's move on because there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 games we still got to go over. So let's move a little bit quicker.
We got plenty of time.
Oh, there's Monday Night Football to watch.
I'm
all right,
watching
Seahawks and Texans, guys. Rashad Penny. Absolutely fantastic game. And as we stated earlier, 16 for 137, 2 touchdowns. He just seemed to get the rock because it was a good matchup for him. And the right side of Tyler Lockett showed up in this game. 5 for 142 and a touchdown. Can you play him?
Lockett, bench him for the rest
week.
of the season because there's not going to be another boom.
Yeah. He's real close to his career high at this point of the season, too, which is incredible considering how many duds he's had this season, too. He just doesn't feel like
this is Tyler Lockett every year, though.
Yeah, but he's been good since Russell Wilson's been back. Consistent the last few weeks.
Yeah,
so can he do it for 3 more weeks?
No, he won't.
You willing to play him?
No, not every week. I mean, let me rephrase. You have to play him because if he has this week and he's sitting on your bench, but there's a reason I went into this year and I said I will not be taking Tyler Lockett anywhere. I don't care if he falls to the 12th round. I would not take Tyler Lockett because I had him on my teams last year and I had to suffer through this. And
every time you guess that every time you guess that it's going to be a high week, it's not. And then when you bench him, it's a high week. It's like it's like manage your hell.
I would agree with that. On the other side of the ball, to General Mills, 33 of 49 for 336 yards and a touchdown, which is why the Texans said they're potentially willing to start him next year, which I think will be a mistake, but we will see. Brandon Cooks, you got to respect the man. He produces even on a shitty team. 8 for 101. He took advantage of his matchup against the shaky Seahawks secondary. Nico Collins came on in this game a little bit too. 5 for 69. He's an interesting dynasty prospect, I think, going forward. And Freeman is an interesting piece for this Texans backfield. 11 for 15. And he also got 56 yards catching out of the backfield. Do you guys potentially like Freeman going forward?
Nope, just cuts.
Just Cooks.
All right, moving on. What happened in the Ravens and Browns games, boys, besides Lamar Jackson's injury?
Lamar Jackson got injured. The Browns almost lost to this team with Tyler Huntley throwing the ball.
Yeah.
The Bears did lose to this team with Tyler Huntley throwing the ball.
All right, but I'm just saying, like, the thought of the Browns still being a playoff contender kind of seems like it's fleeting away.
Yeah. Although you did have Peoples-Jones went off 5 receptions for 90 yards. That is going off on the Cleveland Browns offense, by the way.
He is. I look at him in the same light I look at Tyler Lockett.
Agreed.
You said fleeting Browns, but I feel like they're going to go to the playoffs, dude. They just seem to have the formula to skate by. They're 7-5 now, and I think they're in pretty good position. I don't see this team as fleeting. They're going to make the playoffs.
Let me see who the rest of their opponents are before I say my next statement.
If you'd like to make this another apology bet, I'll take this one.
They got the Raiders, the Packers.
They could lose 3 out of their next 4 games.
Yeah, that's definitely possible.
I'd say they make the playoffs.
Right, but I said playoff contenders.
You said they're fleeting, though.
Right, as playoff contenders.
If they were fleeting, that means they're going to miss the playoffs in your book.
As contenders in the playoffs. Like, going into the season, people thought these guys were going to be in the playoffs definitely, easily running away with this division, and going to make waves in the playoffs and possibly push for a Super Bowl. Like, that's what they were looked at coming into the season. If they make the playoffs, they will probably lose first round of the playoffs.
There's potential. Anyone can lose first round of the playoffs, though, because no team is really dominant this year. But speaking of players making waves on the other side of this game, Mark Andrews broke out for 11 receptions and 115 and a touchdown. And the more interesting piece in this game, Rashad Bateman went for 7 and 103 yards going forward. What is the evaluation for these two players going forward for the fantasy playoffs?
I mean, Mark Andrews is a no-brainer, but I do like Rashad Bateman as well.
Yeah, I do think you still get the low games from Rashad Bateman too, but I mean, he's definitely proved that he's a good NFL wide receiver.
My gut tells me that this was kind of one of those bamboo traps that is out in the middle of the jungle and you're going to play him and he's going to trap you, because I think it's kind of symptomatic of him playing with a quarterback that he probably played with a lot in the offseason. The backup quarterback that he's got a comfortable familiarity with, because I think there's a lot of weapons on that Ravens offense that Lamar Jackson would rather throw to. And we saw that the previous weeks, even one of them being Sammy Watkins, which is unfortunate. So I don't know if Rashad Bateman will have these games the last few weeks. And I think he's going to be a trap. I think he's going to be a trap for fantasy owners going forward. And I think a lot of people will play him in the flex.
Yeah, I changed my stance. I'm not with Rashad Bateman.
I changed his mind.
I was on the wagon for 1.5 seconds, and then I jumped off.
Ryan's like, that seems like a decent argument there. He's like, shit, he might be right.
That's a good argument. He really did good there.
I didn't want to be there anymore.
You still believing in Bateman, Ron?
I'm like hanging off the back of the wagon. Like,
I'm ready to bail at a moment's notice.
But like one more bump and I'm like gonna fall off, you know what I mean? I'm dragging. I might even be like one arming it at this point, but
all right. And
they got Green Bay coming up, which is going to be tough. But then they got Cincinnati, who they put up, I think, 40 points on, right?
Yeah.
No, the Browns did, not the Ravens. Never mind.
Yes, stupid.
So dumb.
We have any confidence in Jarvis Landry or Donovan Peoples-Jones? I mean,
I have no confidence in any wide receiver for the Browns.
Landry's done something the last few weeks. I think he might be a potential flex play. Donovan Peoples-Jones is an outlier. I don't have any confidence in him. And Hooper caught a touchdown, but I wouldn't play him after this week. I think the only one that is potentially a flex is Jarvis Landry, and that's more of an emergency flex.
Yes.
I can't believe Cleveland had to play Baltimore, go on their bye week, and then play Baltimore again.
And a much different result the second time.
What kind of scheduling is that?
Yeah, someone fell asleep at the wheel there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's cover the Thursday night game really, really quick, because
Really
It is a long time since then. Big Ben looked pretty good in that game. I don't know how he's going to look the rest of the season. The Vikings just have a shady secondary that likes to give up a lot of yards late in games and potentially lose them games. 308, I believe. Harris had a good game too. Claypool and Johnson also looked pretty solid like they have the last few weeks. That's kind of been the mantra for the Steelers. Dalvin Cook looked like a freaking beast. 27 rushes for 2 touchdowns, and I believe it was 205 yards. Like, my God, it just was a fantastic game for him. He should get hurt more often if that's what he's going to do for a 3 or 4 week period.
Most of those rushes and yards and all that were in the first half.
I don't care what happens, and if he produces the dude, so let it happen.
I'm just saying, like,
it's insane.
Yeah.
Did they like not run him anymore, or did they just stack the box?
Oh,
You know what I mean? Because he had something like 140 yards and 2 touchdowns before the half. So he only got 50 something yards in the second half and no touchdowns. Like,
yeah, but they were kind of taking their foot off the gas at that point when they were up by 29 points. So I could kind of see why you only had 50 points after that.
Also, apparently with Thielen out, the plan is to just throw the ball to Jefferson all of the time. He had something like 18 targets.
KJ Osborne had a lot too, man. 9 targets. He only caught 3 of them, but that didn't matter. 83 yards and a touchdown. I'll take that any day.
Yeah,
he got me a
Jackson
solid
with 15.
Oh, was it 15? So Justin Jefferson almost doubled his targets.
Yeah.
Like half of Kirk Cousins' attempts were thrown to Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. And I'm okay with it as a Justin Jefferson owner.
What's the outlook for KJ Osborne going forward? If Thielen's out another week.
If Thielen's out, he's a flex option every week.
Right.
Because they're going to be putting all the coverage on Jefferson.
Yeah, it's all on Thielen, what his injury status is.
Yep.
All right. Cowboys and Washington. So, Ryan, he's your boy. So, at least this year he's your boy. So, what happened with Prescott? This was a defensive struggle that was awful for fantasy football.
Yeah, I don't know. This is 2 back-to-back pedestrian outings from Dak Prescott. The work is there. 22 completions off of 39 attempts. Those 2 interceptions don't help, but the work is there. They just got to bounce back into it. Tough second half for the Cowboys. The Washington football team almost bounced back and got them. So, yeah, I don't know. Just have to wait and see. But you still start Dak if you have it.
He plays the Giants coming up, so he'll be all right.
Oh, yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah,
I don't think it's this week, but
Washington just shut the whole offense down. I mean, Amari Cooper got a touchdown, but just the whole wide receiving core didn't play well. The running game wasn't working. Was this just synonymous of this being just a nasty game and we should ignore everything that happened this week? Or is there something to actually worry about here?
My biggest complaint is like, what the frick, Washington? Antonio Gibson's finally coming on, and like, I mean, Dallas does have a good defense, and they did it down early, so they had to abandon the run a bit there. But it was disappointing to kind of see Antonio Gibson return back to earth. He was on a roll for a bit there, but only got 10 carries, 36 yards, only 2 receptions for 5 yards.
But again, they fell down by quite a bit there.
Exactly, and that's what
they ended up. Yeah, so as long as they're in positive game scripts, Antonio Gibson will be fine. Fucking shit.
Yeah, who do they play?
What did you just see that pissed you off?
Kyler Murray threw an interception.
Oh, no. Anyway,
Washington has the Eagles coming up, then Dallas again. Wow. So they just played Dallas. Now they have Philly. Then they have Dallas. And then they have Philly.
Then they have Philly?
Yeah, the Giants actually the last
2 of those games are a nice script. I mean, the Philly games are pretty nice.
That's crazy.
So keep an eye on that Dallas matchup as a Antonio Gibson fantasy owner, because you might not like it.
This is something to keep in mind with fantasy football as of the last few seasons, too. The NFL seems to like to schedule these rivalry games now late into the season. So teams that have tough divisions and good defense, typically like the AFC North late in the season. It's something to consider when you're drafting these players early in the seasons. Because, I mean, if you were drafting someone like Jarvis Landry in this year's draft, you're not all that confident in him going forward, as Ron stated. So just keep that in mind with certain players and certain teams like the NFC East or the AFC North.
Trying to look at some of the defenses and see who has like really good schedule coming up.
See
But
anything you like?
nothing right that jumps out to me too much. The Buccaneers.
Kansas City is not bad.
Well, I like the Buccaneers, the Saints, Panthers, and Jets. That's probably the best one so far.
That is nice.
Any thoughts on any of the Washington players?
No.
Honestly, I think they're a full sit at this point.
Unbelievable to say that. Even their star wide receiver?
Yeah, he got injured too, I believe.
I didn't hear anything on that. We'll have to update that at tomorrow's waiver show.
I thought I heard something. I could be wrong. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I don't know about that. All right, so Lions and Broncos. So St. Brown is an interesting player for the last few weeks here. He seems to be having a little bit of a mini breakout. 8 for 73, so coming alive by Lions standards. Everyone else is trash on that Lions defense. On that Lions offense. And both the Broncos running backs are viable. Any other thoughts on any players for these teams?
Keep an eye on DeAndre Swift and TJ Hawkinson. Their injuries might be coming back this week. They're both definitely viable if healthy. The Lions clearly struggle offensively anyway, but without those two guys, it was pretty stagnant just all around.
Yeah.
Okay, and with that, let's get to the last game. This Bears-Packers game was pretty wild. What happened, and besides Aaron Rodgers bitching about his foot, happened last night?
The Bears in the second half, I don't know what happens to their defense when, I don't know what they're doing in the locker room during halftime, but they should stop. Because
I think they just hand the ball back to Aaron Rodgers and just like, here, destroy us.
They come out and just get destroyed. Annoying.
If you're a Bears fan, you got to like what you're seeing from Justin Fields.
He was even
That's
good for
true.
fantasy football yesterday. Yeah. His passing work looked pretty good. He's getting a lot of rushing work, and he's doing it with receivers that you weren't expecting to be the starters. Allen Robinson has been the biggest disappointment this year. Just absolutely awful where you've drafted him this year. Mooney's looked pretty good
bust this week,
but he was a bust this week. And Bird came out of nowhere, 2 for 76 and a touchdown. Just he looks like a track star, but I don't think he's going to do anything week to week though. And then Rodgers did what Rodgers normally does: 4 touchdowns. Lazard got involved, 6 for 75 and a touchdown. Adams 10 catches for 125, and Drones rushed the ball too. It's just a typical Packers offense, I think, in this game, and I think you can expect it the last few weeks from them. Do you guys have any other thoughts on any players in this game?
Someone wasted $28 on Allen Robinson in our auction draft.
Who would that be?
You.
Yeah, and who traded him away for Alvin Kamara?
You. to JJ.
So ultimately, who won that?
JJ just should stay not involved with any Bears players because it clouds his judgment.
Yeah.
He just needs to not.
Yeah.
Or else I'm going to draft all Bears players from now on and just take JJ's team.
I'm taking Mooney nice and early next year so I can steal someone off JJ's roster.
You'll probably get Dalvin Cook.
Poor JJ. We're putting him on blast.
All right,
he's not
Ron,
even here to defend himself.
I know. Where can you find this damn show?
Everywhere. You can find us at www.garbagetimeft.com. Make sure you go there, leave us voicemails or hate mails. Make sure you go over to Apple Podcasts. Follow us over there. Make sure you leave a review, preferably 5 stars. Subscribe on our YouTube at Garbage Time Fantasy Football. Go over to our Instagram at Garbage Time Fantasy Football. Our Twitter at Garbage_Time FF. Like I said, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Iheartradio, Tunein Radio, and anywhere else that you get your podcasts. We're everywhere.
Yeah, and Ryan, any MMA shows coming up?
I don't know. I gotta nail down Casey and his schedule. He's the guy is killing me. So to be seen there. I don't want to advertise any more shows when Casey doesn't show up for them.
That's fair. My closing thought is Urban Meyer, feel free to be unemployed at any point in the next 3 weeks, okay?
All right. And that'll do it for our show. We're going to get out of here. Make sure you like this episode and subscribe and have a great day.
Night, guys.